Couple of months now that I've been working with Insane Bolt since I made my last video, and I thought I'd just do a quick review video to see how I've been getting on with it. So in this video I'm going to go through the bad points, I'm going to go through the good points, I'm going to go through what I would change if I was to make it again, and if I think it was worth making. I've been using Insane Bolt for a couple of months now, and I have had no problems at all until last week. Now, for some reason last week the switch wouldn't engage, and that's why I brought it out back into the back garden to try and sort that out. I don't actually think it was anything serious. I think what's happened was a bit later on in that day my pump went dead. I checked the battery and that had gone too low, so it turned the pumps off. So I'm hoping that the voltage had just dropped enough to stop the switch from engaging, because now I've tried it again, it's working absolutely perfectly. If it does go again, I'll bought myself a little toggle switch instead of the remote control, so I'll just fit that and use that instead of using the remote control. So what have I found to be the problems with this? Well, the first problem, when you pull it out, although it runs really smoothly, which is really nice, when you stop, because it's so smooth, it just keeps unwinding. So you get loads of slack here, which isn't a major problem until you come to the second problem I've got. And that is, because I was trying to keep it as compact as I could, I dropped that down so there was very little clearance between the frame and the clover leaf inside. Now, this is alright until when you come to wind it back up, the hose just pokes under between the clover leaf and the frame, and it jams it. So you do have to spend a few minutes sometimes just feeding it back through to get it clear so you can wind it up nice and easily. Not a major problem, but just a problem. The next thing that was a bit of a problem, nothing major, to keep it nice and tidy, when I cut all the board around it, I cut it all nice and tight. Now when I use hot water in it, it's not so bad now because it's gone back into shape, but when I use hot water it expands, and because it expands and it's tight, it has to go somewhere, so it bows out on the sides quite a lot, which isn't a major problem, but aesthetically it doesn't look very nice. Another small problem was the lights. Basically they fell off. They were only really there for looks, so again, that's not a problem. They're still working, they've just come unstuck. It wasn't a very good stickers on them, so they have come off. And the last thing is the magnets that I use to hold the back panels on, especially ones on the back. There's a couple of those come off, and you can see one of the magnets on the side panels had come off. Not a major problem again, just needs sticking on a bit better. So that's pretty much all the downsides of it. What are the good sides of it? Well, it winds in really fast when it's winding in, when it's not caught underneath. So that actually works really nicely. It's really fast, really smooth, and works really well. The bearings work brilliantly. It's so smooth on that, it just winds in nicely. As I said, it's fast. And the other good thing is, because I cut this letterbox in it for the hose to go in through, I know with my old reels, if you're not concentrating quite right, you can go too far across to the side and it'll wind around the chain or around the sprocket, or it gets stuck in between the clover leaf and the frame. But with this, because of that gap there, I haven't had that problem. It keeps it all on the reel, so it moves nice and smoothly. So what would I change if I was to do it again? Well, I think the first thing is I would possibly put a roller in, just so it's not rubbing on that there. I'd put a little roller, maybe roller guides all the way around, I don't know, but I think that would just smooth it out a little bit more. In my infinite wisdom, when I put the side panel on, to do that I had to cut off the manual winding. So I think if I was to do it again, I would cut a hole and leave the manual wind on, so if you did have a problem you could wind it in. I would also mount the hose reel slightly higher, so if it did come off it wouldn't catch on the frame. You got a bit more clearance all the way around. I think that would be another way of doing it, making it a bit better. I would also, I wouldn't bother with a 350 watt motor. I'm still using Mark II as well, and I think the 250 watt motor is adequate. This is fast, but there is a big draw of power on it, so I don't think that is essential. The switch, the remote control switch, seems fairly good, until, like I said last week, I did have a problem with it, so I don't know whether I'll be changing that for a toggle switch or whether I'd put a wired hoist switch on in future. Looking to the future, I would possibly, instead of having it this nice smooth shape with the slopes on it, I would make it square. That way you could, if you wanted to, you could stack one reel on top of another. You'd easily put a runner system on that somehow so they clip together. You could have them modular, so you could have one reel or two reels. So I think that would be quite a bonus, having it square. And the last thing is, I don't think I would completely house it in. It's not necessary. It looks pretty, but it does restrict it a bit. You can't always get round to look at things, to work on it. Makes it a bit more awkward. As you know, I've got the back panel that lifts and the side panel, but I think what I would do in future is literally just cover the chain area, just to make sure nobody could get their fingers stuck in that, and then get rid of all of this, and that would make it a lot cheaper. So would I do it again? Yeah, I think it was absolutely worth it. I made this over the winter and I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. I learned a lot making it. Over this winter there hasn't been a lot to do with COVID and not being able to go out anywhere, so it gave me a lot of jobs to do. It gave me something to focus on. It kept me mind thinking, and I think that's good for your mental health. I think it's good for your entertainment. You know, I just think for your well-being it does you good to have something apart from the mundane stresses of life and work, to have something positive to think about and try and work out, and it really just keeps your brain ticking over and helps you stay young. Will I be doing Mark IV? I don't know. It's a possibility. As I said, if I did, I would probably make it square and make a double stacked reel, or even a modular one, so you could have one and stack them on the other, and you wouldn't need to have it double stacked all the time, but if you wanted it you could. Also, being square, it'd be easier to put them side by side, and you could put a shelf across the top if you needed, say you wanted to put your gutter vac or something like that into the van. It'd be easy to put a shelf in the van. So those are my thoughts on Insane Bolt. Overall, it's been really positive. Like I said, there's a few niggles that haven't worked quite right, but nothing major. So hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.